This episode is brought to you by Monkey Nutrition.
So to go back though to your question, like what do we want to do with the film? I had a really interesting thing, and I was sharing this story with Brett, is I had a really successful producer, a friend of mine, Gabriel, that has done a lot of great stuff, and he's really able to look at the business, the film world as a business and do very well for himself. And after the screening, he was like, Adam, brilliant, like your production value, your stories. Like for me, when I'm watching it as, like, I'm not trying to say this as a friend, he was like, when I watched it, I can't tell the difference between you and Michael Moore as far as talent. I don't do docs. To me, they both look same quality. Brilliant story, tackling big subjects, well put together. And then he said something to me at the end. He's like, I'm going to tell you some. First of all, first thing he said is like, as brilliant as I think Brett and you guys did, get out of documentaries because they're too much work. And that was his first thing to me. I was like, well, thank you. I guess that's a compliment. But then later on, he said, you know what? I should take one thing back at him. He's like, you have something that you've done that I might never do in my career, is that you have a film that could possibly help change the world. And I was like, Gabe, I don't even like talking about that. It like really freaks me out. Cause that was never our goal, right? Right. We were just trying to make a great film. And then my other friend that was there, Rocky, said something that was cool. He goes, Adam, listen, we know you're humble and we know you work hard and you don't think about it that way. And he's like, but it's an old Tupac quote that he ripped off. And he said that, because Tupac often talked about changing the world in his music. And he was asked one time, like, well, do you think you're going to change the world? And he says, I know I will not change the world, but my music will spark the mind that will. And when he said that to me, he's like, Adam, that's what your film is going to do. You are not going to change the world. You're a filmmaker, and you gave people a tool. He's like, but trust me, after watching your movie, he's like, you definitely have a film that can spark the mind that will. And I was like, really I was like, okay, guys, like we were at TIFF during all this. And I was like, let's just stop talking about it. Can we just go have a beer? Like, I don't want to think that hard of because you don't like to say my film is going to do this or it's going to do, because then comes back to the moral of your podcast, right? It's about the journey. If you have an expectation that it's going to do this and it needs to do this or it's going to do that, you're only setting yourself up for failure, because what the union turned out and what we envisioned it, two different things, right? Even the journey we've gone on for the Culture High, it was a little different than what we set out to what Brett delivered, but I liked the way it turned out better. So we just wanted to make a great film, and that I can say, whether it's my film or not, if I'm watching it, what Brett put together as a director is a special film. It is. Like when people say, it is a special film. Out of thousands of docs that are made, there are those that are special that are going to connect, and the Culture Eye is that.
Don't miss London Real. Subscribe now.